1907, 1911, 1942, 1947. What is the significance of these dates? For most of us, the significance is that they're just dates. For others, they may be special dates in your life. They may be your parents' birth, a relative's death. They may be other significant dates. Or they may hold tremendous historical significance. In the cases that I just mentioned, each of these dates holds a very significant historical significance in the world of safety. In each one of these dates, a significant event took place that helped shape safety and helped guide it to where it is today. Before the late 19th century, we didn't know a whole lot of safety in America. Back then, they were in it to make money. The person wasn't as important. So we don't have a lot of data before that point in time. As we started to transition from the 19th to the 20th century, the Industrial Revolution started to pick up. Gentlemen like Mr. Carnegie that was mentioned before began to industrialize the country. Safety came into the forefront of the discussions in the minds of industrial workers, specifically due to the fact that in the dates that I'm going to mention, very significant events occurred, causing massive tragedy and death. In 1907, a mine explosion occurred in the small town of Monongah, right outside of Fairmont, West Virginia, very close to where I grew up. In that explosion, 362 men and boys lost their lives that day. The number is anticipated to be much larger than that. However, we'll never know what the exact number is. In 1911, a fatal fire occurred at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in New York City. That fire killed 150 women and girls. In 1942, a fatal fire occurred at the Coconut Grove nightclub in Boston. That event killed 492 people. And in 1947, an industrial explosion at Texas City, Texas, killed 581 people when 2,300 tons of ammonium nitrate exploded during a minor industrial fire. So you can see how these events have shaped the history of safety in America. They've caused great tragedy. But out of those tragedies, we started to learn from them. And we started to take those lessons and apply them to our society in the form of laws and safety regulations. As a result of events, as a result of events such as these, laws and regulations dealing with personal safety and workplace safety began to emerge. In 1907, after the Monongah disaster, the Bureau of Mines was established. And over time, the Bureau of Mines morphed into what we now know as the Mine Safety and Health Administration, or MSHA. For most of you, you may have heard a lot of talk about MSHA within the last few days and weeks due to another tragedy in West Virginia where 29 miners were killed in a mine explosion. In 1911 through 1915, 30 states passed their versions of the first workers' compensation laws. These events also forced the development of external laws and regulations for fire protection and public safety. Many of you may have heard of what's called the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. This body develops fire protection laws and life safety codes for buildings such as these. You see exit signs above the doors. You see sprinklers. Well, I don't see the sprinklers in here. But in most municipal buildings, you see sprinklers. That body dictates, based on size and number of occupants, what the safety requirements are for those buildings. And it provides you protection when you're inside of those buildings. this also helped to shape the development of other associations, such as the American Standards Association, which would later become the American National Standards Institute. A lot of safety equipment is rated by ANSI nowadays. Safety glasses, hard hats, steel-toed shoes. All that is rated by this organization. This also led to the calls in government for the establishment of an overall occupational and safety health law. In 1968, President Johnson proposed establishment of an occupational and safety and health law. In 1970, Richard Nixon made good on that promise by signing into law the OSH Act, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. And within that act, it established what we now know as the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, which governs general industry and other various industries and provides safety regulations. The establishment of this body has helped drive us to where we are today with our safety regulations. So those pesky little safety rules you have to follow, they're guided in these documents. So as you can see by our journey through the past, that each of these dates has a tremendous and significant impact to the way safety is today. These events also show us that we must learn from our past. We must continue to learn and continue to grow to shape ourselves and our future. By doing that, we shape for ourselves a much brighter and much safer future. Thank you very much.